Hello! Hello! Hello!
Hi!
Hi!
Hail!
Hail, Caesar! Hail! Rain, sleet, snow, the lot. Right, so, my name is... What a random reference to the Carry On films. Right, Carry On Cleo there. Now, my name is David Postansky. Welcome to the Geek Battle Show here on the Extreme Improv Extremes channel. This is the strange and weird blend of improv comedy with podcast and comedic geeky comedy panel game show. It's a lot of things all rolled into one. On the show tonight, we have the cream of the crop in terms of the world of geeks. We've trimmed away all of the excess. They might show up, but to be honest, I'm not sure who's turning up today. So if they turn up, they're the cream of the crop as well. But for now, say hello to the people, Dave.
Hello to the people, returning champion of Geek Battle, Dave MC here. I have a geek fact from the worlds of Legend of Zelda. In the castle, in Hyrule Castle, where you first meet Princess Zelda, as you go to the right and look inside the window, there are pictures of Mario, Peach, and Bowser.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, literally. Like when you go into so when you first get into Hyrule Castle, and you go a bit to the right, there's a window, and if you look in there, there are pictures of Mario. There's like a picture of Mario, there's Peach, and there's Bowser in the windows.
Wow. Well, that's definitely worth a bonus point. Is it also in The Legend of Zelda that there is a Arwing from Star Fox?
I haven't seen not in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, in Ocarina of Time. I'm gonna have to find it.
Is it in Ocarina of Time?
I'm fairly sure in Ocarina of Time.
I know about the Mario stuff, but I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look this up. Oh, hello.
Oh
Marty is here.
He replaced Tim in the car.
Yes. He's got Tim in the boot, or in the trunk, I should say, for our American friends. How are you doing, Marty? Say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody. This is Marty. I thought I would try this. I'm out driving around. Thought I would try this.
Are you currently driving?
I am driving. This is probably not a good idea.
Wow. Okay, if you crash, make sure it's hilarious. Okay, so with that, I don't know. Marty, do you have a geeky fact for us?
I don't. Not today.
What? Okay. In that case, Capelthave, say hello to the people.
Hail from the land of leopards, elephants, and crocodiles. I may have two geek facts. It is Capel Dave. So my original geek fact for today is that we know Superman is the superhero that brought on many superhero tropes, but he also borrowed some. So you know the Fortress of Solitude that Superman goes to? It's like the original idea of superheroes where they have a cave or something like that. But that was actually borrowed from an earlier pulp superhero named Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze. He was the one who actually had a Fortress of Solitude in the North Pole made out of igloo, and Superman just turned that into crystal. But he completely borrowed it because the name is Fortress of Solitude.
Okay, well that's interesting. Yeah.
I have more!
I'm willing to give you a point there as well. Diggs BTW, by the way, maybe says, "I was up, G." There you go, down with the youth. Look, tell us what you've been watching this week, or if you've been playing games or reading a comic book or something, and we will discuss it on the show. So give us comments. Yeah. So, Cap, what is your second trivia fact?
My second trivia fact is also kind of Superman related. One is that when Christopher Reeve was actually preparing for the role of Superman, he wanted to bulk up. So he actually acquired the assistance of... Where's his picture? Oh no. Okay, the guy who played Darth Vader, the man who actually wore the suit, he actually approached him and asked tips to bulk up as Superman, and he gave it to him. And I forgot his name. Here he is. His name was... What?
David Prowse.
Yes, David Prowse.
Prowse.
I don't know. Yes, David Prowse. Yes, David Prowse. He asked for his help to bulking up as Superman, and he gladly delivered tips, and he bulked up pretty good.
Well, yeah. Okay, I'm willing to give a point there. Now, here's one other thing. Look, here is my trivia fact. What, Marty?
I was going to say Christopher Reeve actually worked out with David Prowse. There are pictures of the two of them working out together.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
What a hunk of beef he was.
So you can say Darth Vader trained Superman.
Darth Vader. Yes, he's from the dark side. Right, okay, so my trivia fact is, in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, there is an R-Wing.
Okay, show me.
Okay, wait for it.
Okay, so I've just done a bit of looking on that. So, so what I've got is, it says the R-Wing is a vehicle used by Star Fox. It can only be found by modifying the game's data, hacking, or using a cheat device.
Yes, but it's in there is the point.
But that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is in there.
All that makes me want to do is get an emulation of Ocarina of Time and try this.
Do try it. Now, in honor of Marty being here, we're going to make this a video game related show only today. I'm joking.
Great.
He's like, great, I'm driving and I can't even switch this off.
I'm gonna crash on purpose.
Right. Okay, no, we will discuss a variety of topics. Guys, I just watched Werewolf by Night. Has anyone seen it?
Yes, I have.
Marty, did you like it?
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Okay, I didn't like it. So, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. It just felt fairly pointless. And I truly do feel like I'm reaching the point where Marvel has just got... They need to just do like 2 films a year and not anything else. Because unless it's going to be amazing, it's just like there's like... People without powers are the minority on the planet Earth now. Everyone is part of some secret cult, or everyone's got some powers. You know, it's just it's getting a bit much. And also, it made me think as I was watching it that because I had no idea what Moon Knight was a few months ago, I would have assumed Moon Knight was that he was a werewolf, and it turns out there's a different werewolf.
Well, you should say that, David, because Moon Knight's first appearance was with Werewolf by Night.
Well,
right.
Well, it should have been his last appearance too.
He's a werewolf. He's a werewolf hunter when we first in his first appearance.
Yeah.
His suit is made of silver. His throwing moons are made of silver. Everything so that he can fight a werewolf.
He has throwing moons.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Batman, he has moonarangs.
Each to their own.
Lunar Rings.
Lunarangs. Oh, that's quite good. I like that. Okay, so let's just start there. Has anyone seen anything good this week that they'd like to react to? Let's get this out of the way.
Dragon.
Okay.
I can't talk about Werewolf by Night.
Well, you can talk about Werewolf by Night. Nothing happens in it.
I can't vent though.
Yeah, like Dave, the non-spoiler spoiler is that like I've already basically forgotten the story. It was so pointless. So
the only thing I know about it is the appearance of Man Thing, and even I don't even know who that is. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
I just watched it. I still don't know what that is.
Yeah,
is it something like the Swamp Thing?
Yes, but here's an interesting fact because I actually looked it up one time because you know how comic book companies copy each other a lot.
Yes.
And you never know where things came from first. I always wondered which one was created first, Man Thing or Swamp Thing. They both were created around the same time. But guess what?
What?
There was a character before that was created in like the 40s called the Heat. And they're both based on the Heat. So there's neither one of them are original.
Wow. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, do you know
But
that's
what I wanted to say,
go ahead.
oh, go ahead. Well, I was going to say about Werewolf by Night. There's no point in talking about it because I'll just geek around and nobody will know what I'm talking about. But what I would like to know is why there's so many people on the internet saying it's the greatest thing they've ever seen,
Really?
I think they're called
Yes.
bots. They're not real.
There's a lot of comic book creators and writers and stuff who are like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, and I'm like,
They've
I
been
don't
saying
know
that
how
for
you
Rings
can.
of Power as well. Like each and every day, I see a Facebook
Well,
post on
it's
Twitter.
because I think everyone's
I don't
just
know how-
like trying to get clout, aren't they? They're just trying to be like, oh, this is so artistic, because stylistically, it's in black and white. It's got music which makes it seem like it's like the Bride of Frankenstein from the 1930s, and also it does that thing that, well, I won't give a spoiler of something. It's got one other thing where it's like, oh, if it's got done that, that's so. Oh, I can't say, but it does some
You can
things
say
where.
to me, I mean, Dave, cover your ears, but you can say to me, I don't basically care.
Well, I just take my headphones off for a bit, so you
Well,
can
yeah,
talk
if
about
he
it.
covered his ears, he can still hear us through the headphones.
I can't hear you now.
Oh, it's
Okay,
all right.
excellent. So, okay, my real problem with David is this. All right. You can hear me. You can hear me.
He was testing us.
Yeah.
I overheard that bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was really uneventful. I think it's that people are trying to just... Like, the thing which I noticed about so much online reviews and that, first it happened with Star Wars Episode 8, where all of the reviews the week before it came out or the week it came out were like, this is amazing, 10 out of 10. And then the real people watched it and they were like, what are you talking about? This is terrible. Now, 2 years or 3 years later, all of the people that reviewed it was like, oh yeah, Episode 8 was terrible. And then also after Batman vs Superman came out and people were like, oh my god, it was long, it was confusing or whatever. Then when Justice League came out, all of the reviews were like, this is the greatest thing ever. I went to the cinema and watched it. And within like 9 minutes, I was like, God, this is a bad film. And loads of people said, this is a bad film. And then everyone's like, thank God they're doing the Snyder Cut. It's like, you don't mean any of this. You're just trying to preach to your audience.
I think, David, you and I and maybe some of the other geeksters here, I don't know, for some reason, the world, I put this out on Instagram the other day. I'm like, why do I not like all these things that people are like just gaga over? I don't understand. I'm like, either something's wrong with them or something's wrong with me.
I'm not sure.
But I'm
not sure that it's that. I would say it's fake publicity most of the time.
I think it's both. So one, I agree with you, Cap. It's fake publicity. But also, Marty doesn't like any of the recent Batman films, so there is definitely something wrong with him.
Yeah, Dave, I agree.
No, Marty, I do agree with you. Like, okay, so like I might say I didn't love the Batman. I liked the Dark Knight trilogy. Well, I liked the second one, in particular. But you know, I enjoy all of them, and I know you have stronger opinions about them than I do. But yeah, I agree. So many of these things recently, like for me, I loved Avengers Endgame. Not Endgame, Infinity War. Endgame I enjoyed, but I don't think it was as good. But then so many things kind of since then, especially like Marvel stuff. But even like Suicide Squad, I thought was trash. Like.
You are alone on that one.
No,
You are alone on
but
that
like
second one.
Spider-Man, the Spider-Man with all the Spider-Men in, I thought was great. And there's been a smattering of other things which I thought was great. But so many of the things that have come out like recently, like the most recent Thor film, I thought was meh. Doctor Strange was only about meh as well. And She-Hulk is kind of bad in so many ways. Ms. Marvel got better as it went along. Moon Knight was trash. The Suicide Squad was trash. Like, you know, like everything is trash nowadays. And it's
I really enjoyed Hawkeye. I don't know if anybody else did, but
no, that was trash.
I liked that one.
I thought that was
actually,
alright.
I
But that was the one in particular where I was like, they don't introduce villains until the final episode.
Well, Marvel never does that. It's crazy. I did like this last episode of She-Hulk, though.
What, the one with Daredevil in?
Yeah.
Have we all seen that? Or have I just given a spoiler?
Don't worry, I have no plans to watch it. So
We don't care.
Everybody knows he was gonna make an appearance, so it's not a surprise.
Okay. I thought
Yeah,
that
I
one
mean,
was all right, but again, it was the first one where it really felt like there was fights and action.
Well, that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
That's what I've been waiting for.
But I think could be true though. Like even though like this year, what's my favorite films has been like superhero related. I would only say the Batman was the only thing that was superhero related was worthy of remembering. But even that, an enjoyable film for me this year would be The Bullet Train. I actually had so much fun watching that movie. I would rewatch that again and again. But I agree, give Batman the second place. But other than that, I don't actually count the other superhero movies. I don't want to watch them again.
Have there been any DC films out? I know Black Adam's out in a week or two. Have there been any DC films? Has there
Well, any other DC films?
this year?
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there was like the Injustice movie, the animated stuff. They did an Injustice.
Yeah, animated.
Yeah, animated probably.
I think that was earlier this year.
What is Marty doing?
There's one right now. There's another animated one right now with Sons of Sun and Superman. Sons of, like,
yes, the children of the Sleepers or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like I think I'm sort of at that point where I'm fatigued by Marvel's like bringing out stuff like so often, and I think we're spoiled a bit now because I think we can say that we've had the best of Marvel, like from Iron Man up to Endgame. You know, we had maybe a few flops with like Captain Marvel and I think that the Infinity Saga cannot be beaten at this point, and Marvel's trying to capitalize on it. I think it's trying
as much as they can.
Yeah, they're trying too hard, as it were. It's like, look, we're going to scrape the bottom of the barrel and try to find as many obscure characters as we can think of, like Werewolf by Night. It's like you ask any like kind of like, who's Werewolf by Night?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm very distracted by Marty's back.
I know, it's just weird what's going on. It's just like we're getting a lot of like upper leg action, like just filtering into the shot. You know.
It's like the unimpressed face.
And he's gone.
There we go.
He's like, that was still on.
But I would say like the same thing. I'm not sure I could fully blame Marvel, or is it the Disney thing? They just don't want so much stuff on their streaming site, which is kind of redundant because they already have a lot of classical stuff. I don't think they're in starving need of content. But this is what I observed, like Disney movies in particular, is not that much coming out. It's either remakes or other than Pixar movies. I don't see any new good Disney movies, or at least.
Okay, at the beginning of the year, did you see Turning Red?
Yes.
Yeah, that was Pixar.
Was it?
I currently have a Maymay peluche, like little stuffed Maymay, currently looking at me right now.
What's a peluche? Like a plush?
The French for like a plush.
Oh wow, their word is peluche.
Yeah,
that sounds like pollution, though.
Yeah. That's what it is.
That was just a good sentence, David. That was. Oh, I've just got a Maymay peluche. It's like, I bet you have.
It's not a brag.
I think the last one Disney was Encanto. Encanto was the last Disney movie, I think. And
yeah, I enjoyed Encanto.
Yeah, but that was the one. There was no other stuff afterwards. Otherwise, it was Pixar or it was Marvel.
Pinocchio though. Pinocchio, that's a remake, but
remake.
Yeah.
The remake.
Let's
Pinocchio. Leave the remakes. What I'm saying is that Disney's very being conservative with its property, but like selling all the other stuff like Force, and other than the remakes are the ones they're actually trying
Lightyear.
to put out.
Lightyear, is that Pixar as well? Of course
Pixar.
It is. Yeah, geez.
Pixar, yeah.
It's Pixar's property, but I'm not sure Pixar's. Did they? Oh yeah, they.
I've got a feeling they did make it actually.
Yeah, they
oh
did.
my god, Pixar made a terrible film.
Pixar aren't what they were. Like, I feel like everything I say now is just like overly critical, and I don't mean it to be. But it's like everything feels like it's just getting like worse. Like, and the problem with Pixar is everyone's like, "Oh, Pixar, it's so amazing." But when I've studied hard, like thought hard about the Pixar situation, I think they started going downhill with Finding Nemo, and I know that was 20 years ago. But like you think a Toy Story, it's all like toys running around chasing and stuff like this, and A Bug's Life, it's like there's ants and cockroaches, and Monsters University, blah blah blah. But then it was like Finding Nemo. It's like we need to make something that's got to like move people's hearts and pull on the strings and all this. And ever since then, it's like, well, we're just gonna have The Incredibles, and we're gonna have scenes with like two parents arguing at a dinner table. It's like, no, you're superheroes. Hit something. You know, it's just like what they always try to do. And it also Pixar was it Pixar or was it Disney? They do all these shorts where it's like two umbrellas are in love with each other, and it's like, what's going on?
That would be Pixar.
They both do them, but I'm guessing that's Pixar one.
Well, I would agree with you. Oh, sorry, Cap.
Yeah, go.
I was going to say, I'm with you, David, that Pixar's not been doing good, but I would disagree on the movie that it happened. I think it happened after Toy Story 3.
Well, Toy Story 3, like what I didn't like about that, just to quickly say, is as good as it was, and when they all hold hands and they're all going to die, that is like such a good moment.
Yeah.
But Andy is grown up. They get old. It's like, I want it to be like Maggie Simpson, where he's a kid forever.
Yeah, David, Pixar doesn't do happy endings. I mean, they do, but like unless they rip your heart.
I didn't know they offered those services.
I actually had I actually had a conversation with someone earlier about Inside Out. Like, if they did a trilogy of Inside Out, and they say, right, we've had Inside Out with like Riley as a little girl, then maybe in the sequel that they've got coming out, she's going to be like an adult. And I said, well, what if in the last movie she's like an elderly grandmother and then she passes away? And they're just like, dude, why would you say that?
Okay.
Yeah, but Dave, I think like Pixar. This is what I feel about Pixar from the start to Toy Story to all they do. Is like they do very emotionally gripping stuff. Even though David says like two parents arguing together, but I would say, David, the first Incredible had more punching than Incredibles 2.
I didn't watch Incredibles 2 for the very reason that I wasn't sold on the first one.
Don't watch it. But what I'm trying to say is that like Pixar do go through emotional journeys, I would say. And as they started from Toy Story, what they did is that like they know their audience have grown up. And I see like even in 2010 I wasn't grown up yet, but I see like with the story that they were telling, they tend to grow out every generation and they just leave them out with a bang. And the Toy Story 3 was a perfect way to end it on. I mean, the saddest thing for me is not the claw thing. The saddest thing for me is like Andy leaving Woody to Bonnie. And the most worst thing is that Bonnie doesn't even care in the next movie.
Exactly!
Yeah.
Yes, she doesn't care.
I'll just leave that away.
Okay, let me just deal with the... So I've got a list of Pixar films here. Indulge me for a second, because it's like, the first one, it's like, imagine if toys were really alive. And you've explained the concept of the film with that one... You're right, Dave. Is it May May is coming to get you with her peluche?
It's just you said toys coming alive, just Mamie just looking at me.
Oh, okay. Right, so yeah, but like Toy Story...
It's literally freaking me out.
All you need to say is, imagine if toys were secretly alive, and that's the whole plot of Toy Story summed up. Imagine if big bugs were attacking little bugs. That's the story of A Bug's Life.
Right.
Monsters Inc. It's suddenly like, well, imagine if monsters had to collect children's screams as an energy source, and you're like, what? Okay, that's a bit confusing. But then when you move on, you end up getting to things like, well, imagine that there's this rat that can control a guy's body like a puppet by pulling his hair. You're like, that's the plot of a film? And then you're like, so then there's the last robot in the universe, but all of the people are still alive on a spaceship and they're fat and they're obsessed with, like, social media. Like, well, this is getting a bit, like, social commentary. And then you go on, it's like, well, imagine this guy that's got loads of balloons and his wife died, and then he's got some rivalry and he's after some guy from some kid's cartoon. It's like, what's going on? And then you get further in, it's like, so imagine if your emotions were sentient beings. And then it's like, imagine if this other guy died and there are these bubbles of unborn creatures that haven't had their life potential yet. It's like, what the hell is this? They're so confusing.
David, it's from the start. So if you look at Toy Story 1,
yeah.
It's about childhood growth. Is it antisocial behavior or is it conforming a good adult? I mean, Sid is basically a psychopath growing, and and Andy is a good kid. You can tell early signs of antisocial behavior since you're a child.
No, it's about toys that are alive, Cap.
Social commentary is already there, and if Bugs Life is the difference between a dictatorship, Stalinism, all the things were there already.
No, it's not. It's about little bugs and big bugs.
Didn't you hear who was the actor who played the bug? I think Kevin Spacey or something. He
Kevin Spacey? Now what issues are you bringing into this?
I would say, David, that it was already there. The Monsters Inc.
Kevin Spacey is always there.
Yeah, he is always there in childhood movies. So I'm sorry.
Jesus.
It's just a fact. But what I'm trying to say is that social commentary was already there, but I agree with you on the Monsters Inc. I would say I didn't get that much social commentary in that one. I just watched, a monster discovering a different path, or at least, but I didn't get any social commentary on that. But also, I agree, Finding Nemo and stuff. But Inside Out was one of their best, I would say, about how to tell a kid how his emotions and stuff affect each other. For a kids movie, that's really brilliant. The thought they put into it.
Yeah, but you have loads more emotions than what they claim that you have. And also, why does your emotions look exactly the same as my emotions? Everyone's emotions were a clone of each other.
David, they were not actually doing a documentary. They were trying to converse the idea to a child, but still did a bang up job.
You're saying that wasn't a documentary, Cap?
No, that wasn't. At least not for you. For me, it is. But what I'm trying to say is, I would say Pixar is always a company with big ideas and trying to give them to children. Trying to package
Welcome to our podcast today. Cap defends Disney.
Cap defends Pixar. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be accurate. But the thing is that with current nowadays, the last movie was Soul, which was again really interesting, and the way they involved scientists and stuff into conveying these big ideas. But I would say it was not entertaining. Soul was not entertaining. Inside Out was still entertaining, and it did have a good.
Wait, you said Soul was not entertaining?
It wasn't entertaining as much.
But he becomes a cat at one point.
Yeah. I can't laugh at that anymore. I'm sorry. I've grown up.
Wow.
I can.
Oh my God.
I could put Inside Out still and laugh at that.
No, see, I'd say Soul was entertaining. It's an incredibly confusing plot. They have to explain, well, in the afterlife, there are also the never was people that haven't been born yet, and you can steal their potential. And it's that's confusing. It doesn't mean, look, as soon as you turn someone into a cat, you've won.
I would say it's one of them that are not entertaining. Again, ideas were great. Even there was interviews where I think the movie producer was describing what they got the ideas from, how they involved real scientists and based ideas of how Source would be. They actually found the thinnest element of the universe.
Real scientists? I thought you said this wasn't a documentary.
It was not a documentary still. But I would say, I think Turning Red was at least a bit entertaining. I think they would agree, I would say. It was back to at least. Was it entertaining?
Turning Red?
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
Yes. I would say I have to say Turning Red is the best movie I've ever seen. No, but Turning Red was really good. It had some really good things in culture. It had some really great music. I love the different animation styles that they used in the movie. The thought of growing up and being the panda is it's so cute, but it's a symbol for being more mature.
What do you remember? When He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, it's at the end they'd just say, "Remember, kids, be nice to each other," and that was all the symbolism they needed. I just what I don't want symbolism in when I have a kid, I'm gonna teach them the lessons of life, and it's that they should always stay extremes. They should play PlayStation if they want to have a chance to do their homework.
But I'm just
gonna show, I've been trying to show my godkids all the Tom and Jerry cartoons where a cat and a mouse beat the shit out of each other for 7 minutes.
Exactly.
That's all you want. That's all you want.
That's all you need.
Like also, like, and when you watch Tom and Jerry, like the older era ones, it's still, to me, when I watch it, like the physical comedy of it is still laugh out loud funny.
Well,
Like the expressions of pain and everything.
I would say, David, that this year, I think this came out a few years ago. This year, I watched Tom and Jerry in the Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
No, we're not talking about.
No. Hear me out. So lately, the Tom and Jerry stuff hasn't had as good a slapstick as before. But when I watched Tom and Jerry and the Wizard of Oz, the slapstick was as on point as it was in the older cartoons, and it ended up adding, newer elements to it. So that Tom, they do this stupid thing where Tom and Jerry are always in the background of everything.
There was a movie this year as well with Tom and Jerry. This year, or was it last year?
I
don't know. Chloe Moretz was in it. I'm like, why is she slumming in that movie?
Wait, Chloe Moretz was in Tom and Jerry?
Yep.
I need to see that.
That movie, I would say stylistically, I don't understand it. The thing is, like, you know how Roger Rabbit with 2D animation but still look like they exist in the world? This movie feels very wrong, is that, like, even though they're acknowledging Tom and Jerry 2D cartoons are in this world, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look as blended together with the world, and I don't like the actors interacting with them. It's so weird. I think they kind of lost how to do 2D slash... I think the last good movie I saw was with 2D, and it was the Looney Tunes Back in Action with Brendan Fraser. Again, not a great film, but I would say it's an okay movie. Still, the animation didn't weird me out, but this one really did. But again, with David, what you're trying to say is like Tom and Jerry, like the early cartoons, that's all you need. I would still say the Looney Tunes wordplay is still, even as a kid, I would say that showing that is like increases your sense of humor much more higher.
Yeah, okay.
But that's like...
I hear that, but I've got here a compilation of Tom screaming, and I hope you can pick it up on the thing. Just because Tom screaming had some of the best screams ever, because it when they got it right, and not all of these are probably the best ones, but it sounded like, instead of being like, yeah, it would sound like it started from mid-scream, so it would just instantly be like, ah, like this. It's so great. So anyway, let's see.
No, I can't hear it.
Oh, god damn. Right, well anyway, just like, look at the pain on his face. Oh, it's too bright. Okay, let's see what we can do.
Why is there no sound?
One thing is forgetting screams. Zoom is like...
Oh, well, that didn't really work, but...
Maybe?
Yeah, I think what it is
well, my favorite scream is that one where it's just like, ah!
Yeah, that's the one. It sounds like it starts midway through. There's no build-up. It starts from the strongest point.
What kills me is that apparently Bill Hanna of Hanna-Barbera, he's the one that did all those.
Yeah, he did.
And wow. I'm like, that is amazing, because that one scream, if it's not in the cartoon, I'm always disappointed.
Yeah.
Like the likes of like Mel Blanc for Looney Tunes, like screaming for Looney Tunes and that as well. Willem Hanna doing Tom as well. It's just crazy.
Love it.
And with that, I would actually talk about like the voice actors thing that we actually had on the Geek Chat. I hate the fact that right now it's just only celebrity voices or just people who are not actually voice actors.
Oh my god! I think it's since last week. Have we seen the trailer for Super Mario Brothers?
I was waiting for this.
So, like, obviously, Charles Martinet, and he's going to have a cameo or something. When he does it, he's like, "It's a me, Mario!" And then you've got Chris Pratt, and he's like, "And here we go!" And he's trying to, like, there's, like, one bit where it sounds like a Mario twang, and the rest of it is just Chris Pratt.
Because I was talking with another friend of mine, apparently he was saying that, Mario's not like an Italian. He said, he's from Brooklyn. He's like got a Brooklyn accent. So, what are you talking about? He's Italian.
Yeah. Well, hang on, Dave. Like, so the Super Mario Brothers movie from like 1992 or 93.
Oh no!
Bob Hoskins. They got him, even though he's English, to basically play the same character he played in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Hey, come on, Luigi!" He's like this.
And then it was fun, right? Luigi was his son, right?
No!
No, it was his brother.
No, that's why there's a Super Mario Brothers movie.
No, I think in the film it's like he said something like a father-son moment or something like that. No.
No, Cap, no.
Cap.
Yeah.
Cat, what
I will
meaning
clarify
did
for
that-
you.
Yeah.
They do say that he's his son, but they also say he's his brother.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's not
What
confusing at
kills
all.
me is
Okay.
that now they're saying that Chris Pratt's also going to play Garfield.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Because they
I've
need
been
to
asking
make
that
as
same
much use
question
of
for
him
a
while
long
they
time,
can.
Marty.
I think what's happening is Chris Pratt used to be significantly overweight. He got into shape to play Star-Lord, and I think 5 years later he's like, come on guys, I just want to eat. Just give me some voiceover work so I can just sit there, I can talk.
But I would say like the celebrity was even like the recent Scoob movie. I was really excited to see that. But
Chris
then
Pratt
the whole-
played Scoob.
No, Chris Pratt didn't play Scoob, but Zac Efron and other bunch of celebrities did.
Zac Efron was
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Zac Efron was Fred. He wasn't Scooby-Doo.
Oh,
Thank
Fred.
God he wasn't.
Have you
Yeah.
have you seen there's a new Scooby-Doo or a new something?
I can't watch Scooby-Doo anymore.
I don't want to talk about Velma.
Velma's a dark-skinned lesbian.
I don't want to talk about
It's like it feels like they feel that they need to subvert like everything that was ever, and it feels like it's for the sake of it.
And it feels weird for certain properties, I would say, because, like, I mean, they're internationally beloved already. I mean, I think the reason why they're actually internationally beloved is because they're who they are at first. And I don't really get it. Who are they trying to actually tell it to a new audience? It's not a new audience.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing, like on like an animated thing, because like if they can't like because obviously and this is something we mentioned a few weeks ago, like with the Little Mermaid casting. If you cast an actress and then they're playing them in live action, they're going to look like them, whoever. If you're changing something on a cartoon, like I've literally just seen pictures of it, and like I was just like, oh, okay, so this is different. I don't know why they do it though. You know, is the thing. It might be good. It might be really good.
And the Scooby-Doo thing is a particular problem is that they also changed genres. They made Scooby-Doo adult. It's not Scooby-Doo. It's not going to be a kid cartoon. It's for adults.
Yeah, that's
Scooby-Doo's
what.
not even in this.
Well,
Scooby-Doo's not in it.
Apparently, according to the writers in that, they got they got Fred, Velma, Daphne, and not Shaggy, and they haven't even got Scooby-Doo in it. So it's not Scooby-Doo.
Is Scooby-Doo a cat?
Scooby-Doo
Sorry, Marty.
this is for adults who love Scooby-Doo as a kid. This is not for kids now.
But again, I don't think those adults now, considering I am one right now, would prefer
Allegedly.
Debatable.
Yeah.
That is debatable.
I mean, like, again, I have no problem with diversity, actually. I think if you do it well, I would be okay with it. I mean, I think
I
that's
don't
the driving
care.
step.
I don't have a problem with that. Anything I might say that might sound offensive, I'm saying it as a joke. I'm always playing the devil's advocate. But for me, it's like, why are you making this? Because, I mean, Scooby-Doo started, I believe it started in 1968 or 69. So
Yeah.
that's when I was a kid. So that's when Scooby-Doo started. And so anybody that loves Scooby-Doo is going to be from my age to probably about Cap's age. But little kids like my godkids, if you ask them, do you want to watch Scooby-Doo, they're probably going to say no, or what's that?
Because I would say the reason for that, Marty, I think like that was when mine was the last generation where Scooby-Doo was still good, and afterwards they just became a thing that Cartoon Network just plays in the background.
But kids watch stuff that's not good. I mean, I will kid people all day long. Like my wife, I'll make her watch some of the cartoons I watched as a kid, and I will pretend that like this is the greatest thing I've ever watched in my life. But deep down inside, I know that they haven't aged well. But I have a love for it. A lot of the stuff kids watch is crap. I've seen some of the stuff my godkids watch, and it is absolute garbage.
Yeah, but Marty, this is the thing that I would say. I think, I'm not sure about the current animation style of that time, but the thing is like, animation has really gotten worse, especially kids' animation.
Yeah.
I know.
they've gone really, at least like David saying, like the slapstick with Tom and Jerry, that level of creativity is not there anymore. They're not spending that much time. They're not even caring. They want the cheapest animation, and they wanted to put it out fast so they can have continuous content.
Yes, thank you.
The only shows that have really good animation nowadays that I can name are Rick and Morty, and even that's stylized. I mean, the best animation that I've seen lately is Prime.
Yep.
Wow.
And everything is adult. I think most of the good animation stuff you see is an adult. I think they're the ones actually putting time to actually market that.
That's because kids don't really care. I mean,
well, no. Here's the thing, and here's a theory which I've heard recently, and this is like my take on it. It's like I've seen things like Peppa Pig and Hey Dougie and these things which are meant for like 2, 3, 4-year-olds because I've got young members of my family. And I'm like, these cartoons are garbage. And then people be like, no, but this is really good for that age group because they can take in the colours and stuff like that. I'm like, no, it's because it's animated in Flash. You know, this is just like the simplest. They saw South Park and they were like, oh my God, they don't need to animate characters anymore. And now no one animates any characters. High five, Marty.
Yeah. But I was going to say, I forgot about it. I can recommend one new cartoon that I saw. My godson really loved it, and I had to sit down and watch it with him one day. And it's called Grizzy and the Lemmings, and there's no dialogue at all. It's all slapstick visual humor, and it's actually quite funny.
Yeah.
What is the name?
Grizzy and the Lemmings.
And I feel like I've seen this.
But it's that old Tom and Jerry style slapstick. I mean, the lemmings bug the crap out of Grizzy and do things to him all through the episode.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
I just think basically nowadays they should just like re-release films from 20 years and 30 years ago. Not remake them, just re-release them, because nothing they make now I think they've run out of ideas to the point where they just remake everything. They remake Pinocchio, they remake Cinderella and all this. They do we've got 3 Spider-Men in 20 years. We've had 4 different Batmen currently. Where it all started going down for me, and they feel like they need to make a change. So it's like, okay, well, we're gonna make Scooby-Doo for adults, and we're gonna change the race of people. We're going to change the genders of characters. We're going to get rid of the dog entirely. And I think it's just because they feel they need to make a change. And I think where this really started was when they took the red underpants off of Superman. And ever since then, it's just been downhill. Give Kal-El his red knickers back, or I'm not interested. Marty?
Weirdly, I'm gonna agree with David because the last animated Justice League, one of the beloved series was JLA Ultimate, and Superman still had his underpants on that.
Well, thank you. Now that I can get behind.
And afterwards, it was Teen Titans, good Teen Titans, then it was Teen Titans Go. And I would say, yeah, I agree, David. When the underpants
with Superman
away,
without the red knickers on. It's like you look at him and it's like you notice too much butt. It's like, dude, put your trunks back on. It's like, I don't want to see this. There's children in the room, sort of thing. It's like, I don't want to see Superman's butt, even if it is exactly the same, just not red.
The thing about saying there are no new ideas, there are. It's just that Hollywood is ignoring them. They're not. They're only doing remakes, sequels, and stuff like that because that's what makes money. They're not willing to take a chance on anything new because they don't want to possibly lose money. But there are tons of things that have not been adapted yet to movies or television that could be great, but they haven't done it, and I don't know if they ever will.
I think, Marty, you said this a few months ago, and you mentioned something called Werewolf by Night, so...
Yeah, mooch on that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Even like I agree with Marty on that, they just don't want to take the risk. But here's the thing that kind of be the thing with Disney, especially, is that when they do the remakes, it's like the old Coca-Cola thing. Their stocks for old Disney films went up because people instead watched that remake and they felt so bad about it, they didn't want to show their kids that movie. They went and showed the originals.
Wow.
So again, still the numbers are high for the old movies. Even like compare the money standards. Still, like the old money, if you calculate it to today's money, still those are the ones that actually made real money. But for them, for Disney, they can't lose in this. Either you're going to watch the new one, or you're going to go back and watch the old one, which they own again.
Yeah.
For them, it's like a continuous money rotation. Even with nostalgia, like Scooby-Doo, like someone sees the new Scooby-Doo and they hate it. What are they going to do? They're going to watch the old Scooby-Doo movies, which either HBO Max or Netflix or something has already, and content goes back to them.
Okay, let's come to these points, but then the question, I'll say it now and we can come to it in a moment. Is there anything that's like very recent or upcoming that we actually think is good? Because I think we used to do this show like a few weeks ago and there was stuff we liked. And the last few weeks, it's just like everything is bad now. It's like, I wondered, there must be something good.
I
I've not watched it.
I did find something good.
What was that?
This might be controversial, I don't know yet. But I watched the Chucky series that they've got.
Okay.
And sort of the continuation after, I think it was Cult of Chucky, the series based after that movie. I thought it was really good. They sort of reintroduced like Chucky in with working with kids again. Of course, it's it's a horror series, so they have to have it's with teenagers, of course. But Brad Dourif does, he does a great job being Chucky again, and even his daughter plays the younger version of him during flashbacks.
Wait, his daughter played the younger version of him?
So his daughter had like cosmetic work, done on him. So she played the younger version of Charles Lee Ray.
Yeah.
In the series.
This sounds like weird nepotism, where he's like, my kid's playing it. It's like, I don't care.
But other than that, the animatronic work has gone like full on. The animatronics on Chucky look fantastic. There's no CG on it. It all looks fantastic, and the finale was a bit weird, but it's Chucky. We want to be excited, but I liked it. I personally like that.
See, the strangest thing about this is that like Dave has a lot of puppets and other stuff, and he watched the Chucky, and it's like almost tempting fate, Dave. How do you sleep at night?
With one eye open and a sword under the bed.
he has a hand in each puppet, and that way.
To be honest, I would. I think I did watch Chucky, but I think I watched it as a teenager. But I think if I was still there as a little, I would have all the doors to going in the closet and lock it on burning. But I'm not going to hurt anything.
Well, I'll own something then for you, David. You have one hand in each puppet. Yeah, because I talk in my sleep as well. So it's obviously
that would be a hilarious sketch or something. It's like you go to the doctor, like I talk in my sleep. We'll put one of these on each hand. Hey, how you doing? Well,
my hand.
Dave, make that sketch. Make that sketch right now.
I will make that sketch for you.
My hand races up in the middle of the night and says, "I wish I could touch it."
Oh my god! Right, so for context for the audience, this week on the Roku channel, if you have a Roku stick or whatever, there is all of the past series from 1984 of Highway to Heaven. Michael Landon, who was in Bonanza, Little Joe, and he was in Little House on the Prairie. He played Charles Ingalls, and then he did this other series where he's an angel. And I'll be honest, this show holds up incredibly well, what I've seen so far. He's got some things where he's an angel and he's going around helping people where he needs help, and he's God gives him missions and then he goes and helps people. And this guy finds out, he's like his sidekick, he finds out that he's an angel. And he goes into his house and there's like no objects there. He opens the fridge and there's nothing in there. And he's like, what's going on here? He's like, well, I admit I'm an angel. It's like, if please don't tell anyone. You can stay here and cook a steak. And he opens the fridge and there's a steak, which is obviously, how did he magic that there? So it's got some like clever ways of showing that he's got angelic powers. But then episode 2 or 3, there's this kid and he's dying. And this kid's dream one day is to like go to the moon like Neil Armstrong or something. This was 1984, so like 15-20 years after the moon landing, and there was probably still just about wrapped up the Apollo missions. And you see him and he's like, please God, let me live long enough to touch it. I just want to touch it. And it's like, if you didn't know he was talking about the moon, what is there in this world where you would pray that you live long enough to touch it? And then at the end, he's like, I think he's dying in this scene. Spoilers. But he looks out the window and all they do is zooming on the moon. And Michael Landon's standing there. And he's like, you see this kid just raise up his hand and reach out. And then you see Michael Landon looking up. And he sort of just gives like a flutter and like a shake in his breath. Like, like this. And he goes, yeah. And he's like, you're home now, son. It's like, what do you mean you're home? And then you just see the moon, and he goes like, I touched it, Mr. Smith. And then you hear him go, I touched the moon. But I think that means that basically he's died and he's gone up to heaven or whatever is what they're going for. But everything about it back then, I'm certain, was incredibly innocent. When you watch it now, there is no way anyone hears the sentence of like, please God, let me live long enough to touch it without thinking something else. Marty.
Have you seen, there's a clip floating around, it's from a medical show, and I don't even know from when or where. But it's a kid who's dying, he's in the hospital, and his last wish is to see a woman's breasts. And so the nurse flashes him and fulfills his final wish.
Is it House MD?
House MD.
I'm like, what show is this?
Yeah. And then Marty. The doctor comes in. She stood there like that. And the doctor's like, what are you doing? She says, well, he said he was dying. And he's like, yeah, dying to see some boobs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've seen a genuine videos like on TikTok where there's this kid and there's this supermodel sort of thing, and she's like presenting something. And she's like, oh, you've won first prize or something. And he's like, oh my God, I've won. Like this. And she's like, oh, like this. And brings him in. And then he's lent on her boob and he's just like that to the camera. And that was a real thing. That wasn't like a drama. It wasn't some dodgy scene. It was like, this kid is definitely that kid. Dave.
Yeah, I'm gonna just add to this a little bit. So a few years ago, there was an article on a study that showed that men who stare at women's breasts live longer.
Aha! Dracula.
Capital Favour's like, I'm immortal.
We'll do that. Like, in a few years' time, we'll just be doing extreme. We'll all be elderly and that. It's just Cap looks exactly the same.
Anything else I have in my screen?
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. What has this show become today? What have we got?
How to segue out of that?
Yeah. How do we?
Okay. They do put some adult themes in, even in Disney and stuff, right? There was like when Simba fell down and the grass went to the sky, and it actually spelled out the name SEX.
SFX. SFX.
No, I definitely said sex.
I think it was Sex Day. They changed it, okay?
It definitely wasn't. It was definitely
a Disney cover-up, Dave. It has to be a Disney cover.
I have to defend them on this one.
I did rewatch that Little Mermaid scene with the priest, and I definitely do believe that it is his knee. but the placement is very suspect.
Wow. Dodgy
And
things
then,
in
of course,
Disney films.
There is. If you look at the original DVD or video cover of Little Mermaid, there's dick on there.
There is definitely penis.
Yeah.
I remember that, and it's still in my parents' loft as well.
I want to be where the genitals are.
I think for me, it's like in Madagascar. That was when I was a kid. When Madagascar came out, when Alex and Marty were running in together, there was a slow motion scene where Marty stopped something and get out, but it actually was cursing, and the adults noticed and the kids didn't. I actually stayed in that and then watched that clip again and again. We're trying to find the meat.
There it is. Wait for it. There it is. There it is.
Okay, but do you remember the Kryptonian ships in Man of Steel?
Yes.
I don't. I only watched Man of Steel once.
Hang on.
I don't care for Superman movies because they never get them right.
How were they getting them wrong?
Not even the first Christopher Reeve one.
I honestly can't say.
What about Superman 4: A Quest for Peace? It's got Nuclear Man in it.
Shut up.
I think the first Superman is great. I actually went and saw it. I saw it in the theater a couple of years ago, and it was amazing to see it on the big screen again.
I'll be honest, Marty, of those Christopher Reeve Superman movies, the only ones I've seen, the only one I can say I've seen fully is Superman 2.
Okay, we'll come back to this in 1 second. Look, these are the escape pods
Of Zod.
of General Zod.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder and his references.
For those of you just joining us, we are doing penises on Geek Battle.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. The Christopher Reeves films, the third one has got Richard Pryor. That's great. And he fights himself.
That's a good one.
That's a good scene. I like that scene.
That was a really good one.
Clark Kent versus that Superman.
Yeah.
Kal-El, yeah.
I love the bad Superman. He's like, you always wanted to fly, Kent. Here's your chance. And he throws him. It's great.
Yeah, it's a good...
I need to watch that for context.
And also, Superman, even when he's a good guy... Oh, is this Superman 2? Oh, no, it's Superman 2. Right. Do you remember when there's the guy who is like the douchebag in the bar, that when Superman's like, I don't want my powers anymore, he gets into a fist fight and this guy beats Superman up? At the end of the film, almost like a post-credit scene, Superman comes back to that bar and he's like, hey, I think you're in my favourite seat. And this guy's like, right, you want some more? And he punches Superman, and he like breaks his hand, and Superman like sits him down on a chair, spins it round, dumps him on a plate of food, and then just smashes him through the bar. And he's like, I'd like to pay for all of the damage. And it's like, yes, this is Superman. You know.
I mean,
that was great.
That was amazing.
So the weird thing, I saw the Superman animated one first. That was the first introduction from the Superman was. The animated TV show. But then I had a DVD of all the Christopher Reeve Superman's movie and also the Brandon Reeve Superman Returns one. And I sent through all the Christopher Reeve movies, even with the Nuclear Man. I don't remember much about the Nuclear Man. That's a weird thing. I did like the first Christopher Reeve one. The other ones kind of fell out of memory because that was the first time I see...
General Zod Cap. Kneel before Zod.
Terrence Stamp is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't much care. I mean, the fight was awesome, I would say, considering at that standards I didn't know that much back then. But Man of Steel still has a soft place in my heart.
Have you ever seen the deleted scene where, I can't remember exactly what happens, but I think it's a kid. I think when they go to they land and they go to this small town in Texas, and there's a deleted scene where I think it might even be a kid. They're like, kid, go get help. He jumps on his bike and starts riding away, and one of them picks something up like a rock or something.
Yeah.
Throws it from a distance, and it hits the kid and kills him.
Yeah. No, like, okay, so the Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, At one scene, General Zod gets a machine gun and kills a load of guys.
But isn't that also like in E.T. where police were shooting at kids, right? I mean, like in E.T. when they were riding the bicycles, getting away with E.T., they were actually technically shooting the kids with guns.
If you don't shoot the kids, one day they are going to grow up to live long enough to touch it. I'm always reminded of that quote from The Simpsons. I believe children are the future, unless we stop them now.
But I'm gonna, Dave, the study that you saw earlier about seeing boobs.
Yeah.
Man, seeing boobs nearly killed Superman in Superman 2.
What?
Yeah, he gave it all up for Lois.
Nah, he's got me there. You got me there, Marty.
He's like, do I want to be the supreme being of the universe, or do I want some trim? And he picked trim.
Yeah. Also, at the end, he kisses Lois Lane and makes her forget. And that's how she ends up pregnant in Superman Returns.
Where did that go?
But like, Superman Returns, that's an interesting one though. Even though I appreciate it now as an adult, I think when I was watching that as a kid, I was so trying so hard not to fall asleep.
Oh, hang on. Right, so watch Superman 4 again, and I think I'm right in this. After, like, Superman 2, you know, he gives up his powers, he's with Lois Lane, he sleeps with her, and then at the end she's like, I just can't take knowing all of this. And he's like, well, do you know what, Lois? I'm going to kiss you and make you forget. Right? And so it's like, he's making her forget, even though it's forgetting the sleeping with her bit, he's making her forget because she can't cope. In Superman 4, he legit just seduces her, says, yeah, like, I'm Superman, and then he makes her forget for no other reason.
And it just occurred to me how he did it. You know, that's a power that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, but think about it. He's Superman. What he did was he stretched his tongue up through her nasal cavities, and he found that right part on her brain, and he took his tongue and he just went and erased it. And that's how he did it.
Okay.
Don't apply logic to Superman.
Wait, so also, I can't remember if it was on the show last week or somewhere else. What is the point of Mr. Fantastic's ability to stretch? It doesn't help with anything.
No.
In case Invisible Woman can't reach something on the top shelf.
So we did say this last week, but it's like...
I don't know, reading the comics, he's quite effective at fighting.
At stretching, at like hitting things from a distance.
Yeah.
Well, what good is that?
He's basically indestructible in a lot of ways. Robbo is very... I don't know if he's...
Multiverse of madness.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count, yes, Dave. That doesn't count.
Well, in the comics, he uses his powers a lot of different ways.
He's mainly like the Scientist Supreme, though. He's more known for his brain than anything else.
Yeah.
But he can subdue a lot of people. I mean, like, even the super strong ones, if you put them in a lockhole, you can intrinsically stretch and you can be...
Yeah, but this is what I mean. So, like, imagine it's like he's like twists around them. He's like, I've got you. And you're like, dude, that's your body just wrapped around me. That's disgusting. It's like, get off me. You're sweating on me. How much do you put?
Okay.
Yeah.
I give in.
It's like you're sweating on me.
It's just like Dr. Doom sues Ray Richards over body touching.
Well, yeah.
The sweat would never get to them because their uniforms are made out of unstable molecules.
Oh. I hate when there's like an answer.
I just stopped the show dead.
Yeah, you did. I have nothing before
Unstable
that.
molecules.
Okay, guys, look, we're going to run out of time. Now, we can just continue this chat, which I don't mind. Or do you want to try to guess something?
I think it's quite...
I do want to talk about House of the Dragon, at least. I mean, Marty, have you caught up with the latest episode?
Okay, you talk House of the Dragon. I just need to... Yeah, I'm with Dave on this one. I'm just going to... Yeah, I'll be back in 1 minute.
Did you watch it, Dave?
I know, Dave, put it back on, Marty. Has a question.
No, I don't have a question.
Okay, you can ask now.
I mean, I watched it, yeah.
What do you think of it?
I'm enjoying it. I
Me too.
The original show, the theme song. I don't know if you knew there were lyrics to the theme song.
I did not know. I haven't actually seen Game of Thrones.
Isn't it just the word Peter Dinklage?
It's boobies, death and boobies, death and boobies, death and boobies. This one is incest, death and incest, death and incest.
Okay, there is something where there is a video years ago where there's a guy who is doing an interview with Peter Dinklage, and he shows that someone had made a version of the. I can't play it on the show because one, you won't hear it apparently, but also because it would have the actual music. But it basically goes Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter. Yeah, like, and it's like it was so funny.
That.
And Peter Dinklage's face was just like, "Why are you showing me this?"
But I would say like currently is one of the best things on television right now is the TV series. I would say, other than Primal, which is animation, but live action, I'm really loving this. And I love the fact that they actually ended a good character arc with King Viserys. And this is the interesting part that I shared, guys, in Messenger, is that like George R. R. Martin really approved the version of King Viserys that they did on the show. He even said like this is way better than in the books, the character that I wrote. Which I think is like the best, highest praise you can receive from an author when you're adapting a story. And I don't know, it's like a huge thing for me. It's like watching this thing and realizing that actually the writer got what he wanted. And I feel like he might have had a lot of creative control behind the show to actually say some stuff the way he wants things to be or way he doesn't want things to be. Sorry for Tolkien that he's not alive.
Mm.
It's a good show. I'm enjoying it. And I meant to tell you earlier, I'm watching Mike Flanagan's newest show. He's the guy that did Midnight Mass last year. He's got a new show called The Midnight Club, and it's about there's no spoilers. It's about a house where kids that are dying can come and kind of deal with the end of their lives on their own terms.
Do they live long enough to touch it?
Yes.
Thank God.
But they gather every night. They gather in the basement and they tell each other scary stories. But they're also discovering like the history of this house and some weird things went on in the past and all this kind of stuff. I don't think it's not as good as Midnight Mass to me, but I'm enjoying it.
What about the pacing? The main problem with me for Midnight Mass is the pacing was too long, really long. I would say there were monologues that were like, they could have actually cut those monologues out. I mean, at least made it to the point at least.
Television shows are always going to have a pacing problem because what they could normally do in a 2-hour movie, they're going to do in 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do see some, like, even like, again, this is comparing to animation. I would say like Primal when they did pacing was like, for me, it's like phenomenal. I feel like live action had that. I mean, like it's much harder to do on animation because they're actually drawing the whole thing. But I would suggest the storytelling structure would be much more of at that pace level would be long. I would say like for House of the Dragon, I didn't mind the pacing even though there's not much action in it as much as was in the early episodes. But again, it all must have to depend on the characters, how they grip you, even when they're actually having long-winded monologues. And if their characters grip you. And that's one of the problem with Midnight Mass, I believe, is like, there wasn't a good character with charm and stuff. It was more about the mystery and more about what they were talking about. I mean, like, only charismatic figure was the pastor, and okay, that would be spoilers, so I'm not telling anything. It's just like he was the only one who actually was able to grip the scene for me. Otherwise, when they're giving these long-winded monologues, I'm not really interested because I'm not interested in these characters.
What I liked about Midnight Mass was that it's been a long, long, long time since there's been an interesting vampire story told. And I think it's one of the best vampire stories that has been made into a movie or a TV show in the last, I'd say, 10 years or more. Because Twilight came out and ruined vampires for quite a while.
Do you know, a few years ago, I was in a vampire film, and it didn't make it all the way through to production. and
too bad.
it was too bad. Yeah, I feel like everything I say sounds negative. It didn't. I think there was a reason it didn't make it. To be honest, it was fun to work on whilst I was working on it. But I feel like unless there was something amazing coming out of the edit, like even in like on set, it felt like this was going to be dodgy. But that's another story for another day.
Well, it's hard to put a new spin on that. But I mean, not to say it can't be done. I thought Midnight Mass did a good job of putting a new. I mean, basically, what the writer and the director did was he took some of his good and bad experiences growing up in the Catholic Church, and turned it into this tale of vampirism and all this other stuff going on.
Okay,
I thought he did a great job.
But I would recommend you Castlevania. I would say currently the best vampire thing I watched was the animated series Castlevania done by Netflix.
Yeah.
That was, for me, it was like, wow, really good. One thing I didn't like is like they did take out Dracula pretty early on, which was the problem for me. I would agree with you, Dave. No one likes Dracula.
Okay.
They took him out.
So something I'm looking forward to. I think so, at least anyway. Like in a week's time, I think. Well, actually, a couple of things. New films coming out soon. One is Black Adam, and one is Halloween Ends.
Henry Cavill may appear.
I hope that's what.
What's the second one you said?
Halloween Ends. Now, I liked Halloween from 2018. I thought Halloween Kills from a year ago was one of the worst films I'd ever seen. So I'm really hoping that this is at least somewhere in the middle.
Isn't Laurie, like the actor, I don't know.
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. Isn't Laurie Strode in this movie?
Yeah.
I thought she died.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the very quick thing. Like, Halloween has like a weird multiverse thing going on. It's never acknowledged as a multiverse, but it's basically reboots and soft reboots and stuff like that. There was Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 3. It's got a completely different story. It's unrelated to Michael Myers to the point that there is a television showing a clip of Halloween on it. Then there was Halloween 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, and Jamie Lee Curtis didn't do it. So they just said, oh, she's got a younger sister called Jamie Lloyd, and so Michael Myers is after her. Then they made the film Halloween H2O, and because they'd said that Jamie Lee Curtis's character was dead, and Jamie Lee Curtis came back, they were like, we're going to ignore all of the films after Halloween 2. Then they did that and Halloween Resurrection, and in Halloween Resurrection, they killed off Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Then they did the reboot, and it's like remake the first one, and then they did a sequel, and then that went badly. And then they suddenly decided, well, we're going to ignore all of the films but the very first one, and we're going to bring back Jamie Lee Curtis, which they did. And then so effectively that was the new Halloween 2. Halloween Kills was the new Halloween 3, and then Halloween Ends will end it. So it's very confusing.
Yeah, I'm not planning on watching it. I didn't watch the second one because I didn't think the first one was that good.
I thought the first one was good. The second one is awful. Right.
Oh, we're talking like the second Halloween.
Yeah, and I think the Rob Zombie remakes are terrible too.
I didn't mind the first. I didn't mind the remake of the first one. I quite liked that it got about 40 minutes of when he was a kid and how he's going silent. What is Cap doing? Here comes Michael Myers.
Didn't Rob Zombie do Friday the 13th as well?
I don't think so.
Someone else.
I think that was someone else.
The latest thing he did was The Monsters, which the trailer of that was god awful.
Yeah. Because I watched the.
I'm not a fan of Rob Zombie. I really am not.
I think the problem is like with current horror, especially because we've had so many stuff like possession movies and monster movies. We already know the cliche, so we're not, and they're trying to scare us more with jump scares and loud noises as opposed to building up the suspense. And like with let's say with the vampire stuff, when Twilight happened, it set the vampire stuff back a little bit. And I think, we had the good classics. We had the Bram Stoker Dracula. We've had all the classics of vampires, and I think maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they've had an original story with vampires or even zombies as well. You know, there's nothing really now that's original that surprises audiences anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. There's a new vampire movie that came out. Apparently, maybe it wasn't that good because it disappeared pretty quick. It was called The Invitation.
I think I heard that one.
The trailer looked interesting, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, a good horror movie is hard to come by these days, in my opinion. But there are some out there.
Yeah. I think if they're independent creators who make horror stuff, they're doing a better job than most Hollywood.
The last...
Have y'all seen It Follows?
I was literally about to mention that film, Marty. Yes, that's a good film.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
Freaky.
It Follows is really good. Although, it messes around with its own rules a little bit. Because a couple of times, whatever it is that follows just kind of stands there. And it doesn't seem to follow its own rules.
Yeah.
But I love that film. It is such a good film. It's one of those films where when I first saw it, I watched it like 6 times within the first year. And then it reached the point where it's like, I don't think I can watch this again for another like 3 years. And I don't know if I'm quite at there yet, but that is a good film.
And another movie, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever watch it again because it unnerved me so bad when I watched it, and that's Hereditary.
That took me 3 attempts to even watch it once. And it wasn't because it freaked me out, it's because I found it boring for the first half an hour.
Which one was Hereditary?
I don't know how to say without giving spoilers.
It's got Toni Collette in it, and I mean, just look it up. I can't really explain it.
I'm gonna look at it. Okay.
What happens about 20 minutes to 30 minutes in, I was not mentally prepared for.
Well, see, it took me 3 attempts to get there. I was just like, this is so boring. And then when it happens, it happens.
I was just flipped out.
I might need to watch that again, actually.
And then the same guy made another movie called Midsummer, which is also very unnerving.
I thought Get Out was a good horror film.
Yes.
Yes, Get Out.
Get Out was really good.
I
think a comedy horror movie I watched, and bizarrely enough, it was on Disney Plus. It was Ready or Not.
Ready or Not?
I haven't seen that one.
Ready or Not is really good. It's got Samara Weaving in it. It's about a girl who marries into a family, and every year, and when that person marries into the family, have a tradition. Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Yeah, and have you seen The Hunt?
That's the one with like multiple people, isn't it? And like an open ground. Yeah, I watched that one.
That one's good too. I thought you know what I thought you were talking about? There's this Christmas movie called Better Watch Out.
Yeah.
That I haven't seen, but I heard it was pretty good. I don't know.
I've seen it. It was really, really good. Oh my god. It was the kid who played Peter Pan in the new Peter Pan movie.
Yeah, he was a little shit in that movie.
Yeah, oh my god. Oh my god, that was...
I genuinely... I never wanted a kid to punch a kid that much. I was like, shut up.
Oh god.
Did you hear that the kid that was in Diary of a Wimpy Kid actually killed his mother?
Really?
Yeah, seriously. The movie Diary of the Wimpy Kid, the guy, the kid who played the kid, is now in prison because he killed his mother in real life.
I mean, David, are you surprised? I mean, that was a shitty character in the movie. He did awful things to his own best friend.
To be honest, I didn't watch it, but it's just like I heard about this, and then because I at times I'll teach like kids, and then they've suddenly got this book. I was like, ugh, I don't want you reading that. But
the horror movie that's been getting the most like press lately, and people are talking about it being good, is a movie called Barbarian. But I have not seen it yet, and I just wondered if any of y'all had.
No,
I haven't seen Barbarian.
No,
it's got the guy. It's got Skarsgård in it, the one that played Pennywise.
Okay.
There we go.
Movie. Yeah, people are saying it's really, really good, but I haven't seen it yet.
Is anyone looking forward to Black Adam?
Not really.
I am.
Really?
I am.
I'm looking forward to it.
Why watch it. I don't know.
Gotta love a bit of Dwayne.
I've had enough of his ego, to be honest.
What? He's Dwayne.
I've had enough
What
of
did
him.
he say, Dave? What did he say?
No, I've really had enough of him at the moment. You know, he's doing the Jumanji movies. I thought, okay, he's pretty good. Then he did Jungle Cruise, and I was like, oh,
He
God.
stole Brendan Fraser's identity.
It's like you're just playing yourself, dude. Why?
Yeah.
You're just being The Rock in bizarre scenarios. And like when they said, "Oh, I was part of like a group of Spaniards looking for some gold," like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, there are certain
this
actors that can only play themselves. Like, I mean, Tom Cruise. Let's face it.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? That we mentioned earlier about what films have been good. I really loved Top Gun Maverick. I've never seen the
Haven't
first
seen
Top
it
Gun.
yet.
I thought Top Gun Maverick was the film I've enjoyed most this year.
I've enjoyed that as well. Yeah.
Doesn't Wakanda Forever come out soon?
I think so. Yeah. I'm looking
that's
forward to that.
November, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
People
For
are
me,
losing
the
their
reason
shit.
why I'm actually looking forward to Black Adam, I would say, is mostly because is there a chance to bring back Henry Cavill's Superman, and the other reason is that I don't know, because Black Adam is meant to be a villain. I don't think they're going to make Rob the villain. I don't think he's going back to that career route. So that's the one sad thing. But I do want to see Shazam versus Black Adam. And
They won't do it.
Yeah, that's the sad thing about
DC have
this.
said they're never going to do it.
Really?
That's the only problem for me. That's the only problem with it.
Yeah, but
Like,
DC
like,
say a lot
like
of things, don't they?
Yeah, that's the other
world of the internet.
Yeah. DC are all like, well, we're going to make these Snyder films. Then we're like, oh, no, we're not. And then they're like, now we've released the Snyder Cut. And then 2 days before it comes out, they're like, we're never making a sequel. And then stuff like, oh, Jimmy Mac's coming. I'm going to let him in. Even though we're still technically on Geek Battle.
I mean, Marvel, they kind of lost the plot lately, but DC never found it.
No. What was it? What was the John Cena thing called? Peacemaker.
Yeah.
I never even finished it. It was terrible. Like, is James Gunn? This is to say, James Gunn is the equivalent, is the same as Taika Waititi, or whatever, however it's pronounced. It's
really? Wow.
Yeah, listen. So both of them, they made like really good comedy superhero films, and they were like, "Hey, these were really good. We're going to give you free reign to do whatever you like." And so when you got The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and when you got Thor: Love and Thunder, both of them were just stupid, like loads of crazy nonsense. But the thing with James Gunn is they're like, "Hey, it's funny if we swear in every sentence."
Yeah, but
Every sentence.
With Taika and Ragnarok, David, is that like they were different writers. I mean, like Taika didn't do much of the writing in Ragnarok. He basically did most of the directing. And even his best film, I would consider, is Jojo Rabbit, where he just adapted a thing from a book. I don't think he's as much of a good writer, but he's very comedic and he's very creative. I think as a director, he goes well. In Thor: Love and Thunder, he had most of the writing, and it clearly shows. And yeah, that's the problem with Taika. I don't have that much hate towards James Gunn, because I did like the other Suicide Squad movie a lot. Peacemaker,
The other Suicide Squad film he didn't do.
No, the Suicide Squad film he did.
Oh, okay.
Will Smith one is the one where I thought it was going to be really cool, but they lost me in the ending. But I would say with the King Shark and stuff, I really love that stuff. I think I get James Gunn's humor, but with Peacemaker, the same thing. I enjoyed it in the first couple of episodes, but as it went on, it's kind of got boring. But the thing is, like, again, it's John Cena. He can hold the scene, and I think the main reason is that he was able to hold the scene forever on that series, and I think James Gunn capitalized on that. But I agree with you on Taika. With Taika, it's two things. You can get either Ragnarok or you get Green Lantern. And Thor: Love and Thunder was definitely Green Lantern.
Yeah. Marty?
In regards to James Gunn, I was going to throw this out. Talking about horror movies, if you've never seen James Gunn's horror movie Slither, give it a watch.
I think I have.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's really good.
What's Slither about?
Well, it's kind of a loose remake of an older film called Night of the Creeps, which I also love. But it's just about these alien slugs that come down and try to take over the Earth. But I was going to say, David, do you not like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
No, I do.
Yeah,
But then he got fired after the second one, and then like DC were like, "We'll take you and we'll let you do whatever you like," and boy, did they. You know, he really
Okay.
did whatever he wanted, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But what did you hate most about the new stuff? I didn't know Dave hated that movie that much. I'm interested.
The
to know
Suicide
what
Squad.
Dave
It wasn't at all funny, and the plot was like, okay, so the one good thing Jai Courtney ever did in his life was the first Suicide Squad movie, and then they killed him off before the intro credits of the second one.
Yeah, I would rather the movie had been about the people at the beginning that they killed.
Yeah.
Than the people that were in the movie. When the movie started and all these people came up and they did the like Nathan Fillion and Michael Rooker and all these guys, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
And then they all died, and then these other people came in, and I didn't give a shit about any of them.
Oh, even Polka Dot Man.
Not one bit. Not even Idris Elba. And it just, it was just not good.
For me, this is the weirdest thing. Like, I love that film so much. It was so funny. I mean, I didn't, second watch it. But for me, the first time watch, it was so much better than the first Suicide Squad. I thought everyone's gonna love it. Especially, I thought Marty was gonna love it a lot, considering that they had like the weird superheroes and stuff. But again, surprisingly, you guys all continuously. I think Jimmy Mack loves it. I think Jimmy Mack is the only one who made a lot of King Shark reference.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Mack isn't here, so.
If I recall, Capelthef, when that movie came out, you did appear on a Revenge of the Werewolf show as King Shark.
Yeah, I loved it so much.
Oh my god, yeah, Cap, I'm just going to say this now. That was like the hardest episode of Revenge of the Werewolf ever. Because it was just like a picture of a shark. And you were just like, me? Me kill? I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I was like, what am I doing with this show? That is why Revenge got cancelled. I was like, at that point, I was like, never again.
And this is a guy with a puppet as well, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that was probably the problem with James Gunn either. He didn't know what to do with the King Shark, probably. Man of few words.
Now, on this note, guys, we are over. Like, technically, we should be on Extreme Improv now. This is probably the longest episode that Geek Battle has ever had, and we played precisely no games. But with two pieces of trivia at the beginning, Cap, you are this week's Geek of the Week.
Wow, 2 points! Yay!
I like that we just talked. Though.
No, I like it as well. Maybe there needs to be two editions of Geek Battle. One is like the fun and nonsense, and the other one is where we get into nitty gritty and save the world of theatre.
Taste in things.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's like where we just like put right everything in Hollywood. Right, let's find out where we can find everyone on social media, because then we do need to do Extreme Improv, because I'm sure there's a couple of people that will hop on once this is over. Marty, where can the people find you?
On Instagram at What Would Jesus Glue, and here on Extreme.
Okay, Dave, where can the people find you?
You can't find me anywhere on social media right now, but you can always catch me on Extreme Improv and Geek Battles. Me and my puppet friend who will be appearing in Extreme Improv next.
Okay, my name is David Postansky. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at David Postansky. Also, audience, I didn't really mention this earlier, but this week is the Virtually Unstoppable Festival, the Virtually Unstoppable Theatre Festival. Last night we had a bunch of short films, including 2 or 3 that I wrote or directed or what have you. And so you should check those out, plus some other great ones. Last night we had a comedy special that was entirely in Swahili. I have no idea what was said on it. Yeah, no, it genuinely was. Entirely on Swahili. For all I knew, they were like just standing there saying like, and this is how we kill everyone. And it might have been. I wouldn't have known. Right. It's like, now, where can we find you? Capelthave, our Geek of the Week.
You can find me on Swandees, where I sing, I dance, I throw myself in a bucket, and I work with puppets, and I did some sitcom shows, which you should definitely check out, and give me 1,000 views, because I'm really close.
Wow.
And you can also catch me on Extreme on numerous shows.
Fabuloso. With that, audience, go to extreme.tv, find out the full schedule of the festival, and we got some special shows coming up. If you want to see something slightly geeky, then later on, after Extremed, we will have a special podcast with a guest show from Highland Gaming, which is like a comedy podcast combined with gameplay, like as they're playing a game. So, and I think they're doing a Resident Evil game, from what I understand. So, check that out later for something a bit geeky. And with that, from me, from everyone else, stay safe, always stay extreme, live long and prosper.